Hey, morning, folks. It's 11 o'clock this morning on the East Coast. I know that I'm probably cutting into, actually almost cutting into the time for James Law Jr.'s live feed. I know he goes live in about an hour, which is 12 noon Eastern time. Either way, I am Vinny from Suds in the Squared Circle, and I'm here with you. I did not watch this morning's Days of Our Lives yet. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to put my notes together. And then I did watch GH last night, and I'm going to go through and watch it again. I've been watching the shows twice just so that the first time I can enjoy it, and the second time I go through and do the notes. I have to say that I am thoroughly enjoying where General Hospital is going. I like, I've seen a lot of bad takes on Twitter, or X, I should say, just regarding, there's going to be people that piss you off or upset you or rub you the wrong way. I did kind of feel bad for Nina, with yesterday's episode, because she and Sonny are in bed on their honeymoon, and then Carly calls and updates him about what's going on in Port Charles. He's like, okay, we'll be home tomorrow, or I'll be home tomorrow to look into this. So yeah, I could understand how how she's upset with that, because of the simple fact that even while they're married, Carly calls and he jumps. And I think that's going to end up being one of the tones of their wedding, or their marriage. And she's going to get sick of it, which is why she called, the SEC in the first place, was because because Carly had such a grudge against her. But I think the tables are going to turn. Now that Michael knows that Nina is the one that called the SEC on Carly and Drew, I honestly believe that something is going to get to the point where he's going to let it out, and that's going to go through. The only thing I question is, I like how Drew said that we did something wrong. No, Carly did something wrong. Now, granted, she didn't make any money on it because she lost money on it, because of the simple fact that it never went through, and the ELQ board went ahead and voted against it, thanks to Valentine and Ned. But the simple fact is it still law? Is it still breaking the law if you don't make money on it, in terms of insider trading? I know that if you rob a bank and don't sell it, don't get, whatever, or if you rob a store and you don't sell it, get the money back. I know that's still a crime, but with the SEC, I don't know. If you do, supposed insider trading, and you don't make money on it because something doesn't go through, so that could be seen as faulty evidence or faulty intel, or you had a hunch. That's what the whole stock market is, right? Having a hunch. But I don't know. I'm not as versed in SEC and all that kind of business law, especially stocks, that is also there. But whatever, the fact of the matter is, Drew said that they did something wrong. No, Carly did something wrong, and you took the fall for it. That was your choice. Now, granted, the sentence that was handed down by the judge, just not what it should have been. I get that, but they're working to try to get him out anyway, so he'll be out soon enough. And once Sonny gets involved and gets him, Sonny is involved, and once Alexis runs the information about the judge's past, or the judge's vendetta against Sonny, or the judge wanting to go up in the judicial system, they'll blackmail him to get Drew released or overturn his decision, or whatever the case may be. So the other thing is, I want to kind of put this out there and just let everybody know. I've seen a couple of hot takes regarding the WWE Hall of Fame coming up in April. I'm hoping to be there. I'm waiting for the tickets to go on sale for SmackDown that night, that Friday before WrestleMania. So while I'm in Philly, I can go. But the fact of the matter is, everybody's saying, okay, well, who's going to be in the class of 2024 for the Hall of Fame? Bray Wyatt is a shoo-in or an obvious choice. Well, no. In my opinion, at least. I never saw Bray Wyatt as a Hall of Famer. To be honest with you, I know the WWE Hall of Fame is subjective, and it depends on who's still in good graces with the company and everything. And don't mind me. Who's still in good graces with the company? Who's not suing the company, which is why Demolition is not in. But see, here's the thing: I never really looked at Bray Wyatt as somebody who could be in the Hall of Fame. Why? Well, the Wyatt family themselves, when they were doing the group and the faction with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan and even Braun Strowman, that actually worked very, very well. I enjoyed that. That was when Bray had his first title, his title victory. They broke it up and they realized they realized that the sum of the parts was actually better and more than the individuals, which is the complete opposite of the Shield. But when it comes to the Wyatt family, Bray got his first world title. Rowan and Harper had the tag titles. Randy Orton was involved. Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson was involved. And so here's the thing. I never once saw Bray Wyatt, once he broke away from the Wyatt family, I never saw him really as a Hall of Famer. He had a title run as The Fiend, but that one was kind of like one of those decisions for Vince, because Vince was like, oh, this is what's hot now, and let's go with the title. But they kind of booked themselves in the corner, because if The Fiend was supposed to be this unbeatable character, why would he have gotten beat? Why, how do you get the title off of him? Because he wasn't going to be a full fighting champion holding the title for 1,000 and 1,100 whatever days. He wasn't going to be somebody holding on to the title like that. That character kind of had a shelf life because they used it so much. Like, you get him in the feud. They should have never put The Fiend against Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia and have The Fiend win for the title, because you book yourself into the corner. Again, do you have Seth win, keep the title because you don't want to put honestly, that character of The Fiend. See, I liken The Fiend was literally kind of like the reincarnation of the Undertaker character. When the Undertaker won his first title at Survivor Series 1991, he beat Hulk Hogan with a lot of gaga. Ric Flair put in a chair under the ropes, Undertaker tombstoning Hogan on the chair, which, contrary to what Hogan claims, his head was like a foot from the canvas and everyone hit the chair. And I know that's coming from a Hulk Hogan fan. And then he lost it the next week again with a lot of gaga. He had the urn was opened. He had the ashes thrown in his eyes. Flair was involved. Jack Tunney was down at the ringside. Paul Bearer got involved. So there was just a lot of gaga. So it kept the Undertaker character strong, right? So you get to the point where then they really wanted to set up Hogan and Flair for WrestleMania. I guess they did some chem testing on live shows back in '92, and apparently they just didn't think that they didn't think that it was going to work out, or the fan support wasn't there. This is, and you know what, I can understand that. Because even though Flair and Hogan at the time, in the early 90s, were the two biggest names in professional wrestling, Flair came over from the NWA or WCW, and Hogan was WWF. And there was no internet. The WCW wasn't on cable. There was no Nitro at the time. So how would the what am I trying to say? How would the fans of the WWF who didn't get WCW and didn't read PWI or The Wrestler or any of the other wrestling magazines, how would they know about Ric Flair's legacy and history? There was no internet. There was no social media. So I get it. It's like, yes, I read PWI. I read different wrestling. I even watched TBS. But the WCW show on TBS, Saturday night main event, we didn't get the syndicated WCW shows up in Connecticut. So and unless you see the syndicated shows on a Saturday morning, like WWF Superstars or Challenge. I remember Superstars and Challenge used to come on Friday nights, 8 to 10. I think it was on channel 20. No, it was WWF Challenge and then WWF Spotlight, because I remember Gorilla Monsoon was the host of that. So how would they know? So Hogan and Flair, they chem tested it. The fans weren't there, so they changed it. All I'm trying to say is there was a lot of gaga, a lot of, stuff that it wasn't a clean victory. Neither one when The Undertaker won his first title or when he lost it a week later, at this Tuesday in Texas, neither one of those matches were clean wins. So they kind of protected the character. With The Fiend, yes, I understand that The Fiend versus Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia was Falls Count Anywhere or Extreme Rules, whatever it was. Was it Hell in a Cell? Yeah, it was Hell in a Cell. That's right. Because they had the red cell. I get that. So that match, yes, I can understand a gimmick match. It kind of, shows that obviously The Fiend won, right? You could have had Seth win if he used a lot of different gaga, and kept the character strong. But at that point in time, you would have ended up almost, I don't want to say burying the character of The Fiend, because, his first major title match he loses, but it could have been done a little differently. Keep Seth having the title at the time. Because then you go into a point where it's WrestleMania, and you have The Fiend against, was originally supposed to, was it Braun Strowman? No, it was Braun Strowman originally against Roman Reigns. That's what Goldberg took over. But it was it Brock versus The Fiend? Or, no, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Elimination Chamber. Hang on. I'm getting confused with my different, I think it was Elimination Chamber where they had Goldberg beat The Fiend. Now, granted, you think about it, Goldberg is a Hall of Famer. Goldberg is, a mythical, superstar from the Attitude Era, still in great shape. But you had him win clean over The Fiend at Elimination Chamber, or whatever the PLE was at that point in time, right before Mania. And then that's why it was going to be Goldberg-Reigns. Reigns pulled out. You put Goldberg against Braun Strowman. Okay, so that's what happened. But he was still kind of a transitional champion because it was going to go back to Reigns at WrestleMania. Or it was going to go back to Reigns at WrestleMania. You have to get the title off of The Fiend, so you give it to Goldberg. So you still get a couple of transitional championship runs in there. The Fiend or Bray Wyatt in general never really got a good run. So, and then you had the Firefly Funhouse match, which was great. Don't get me wrong. The Firefly Funhouse segments were fantastic. To me, Bray Wyatt was almost like a Roddy Piper. If he went his entire career without winning a championship, did his talk show segments, did his good, his matches with the Gaga. I mean, even though Piper was a much better wrestler than Bray Wyatt was, but it still could have been like that. He didn't need the title. He didn't need any title if they did the creative correctly for Bray, which I don't think they did. Will he go? I would rather see them wait and put the entire Wyatt family in the Hall of Fame rather than Bray on his own. Because the other thing was, Brody Lee, which was Luke Harper, should go in as well. Why? Just because he died? He was mid-card at best. Like, I understand there are mid-carders in the Hall of Fame, but, again, what is WWE Hall of Fame criteria? You have to be on good terms with the company. We know the rotundas are. So nobody blames the WWE schedule, or lifestyle for Bray's passing. So, they're on good terms. So yeah, he'll probably end up going in, and it probably will be the Wyatt family. I hope Bray doesn't go on his own. I really don't. Not that I have anything against Bray as a character, like I said, but I don't feel that he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I didn't feel that Eddie Guerrero was a first ballot Hall of Famer when they put him in right after he passed. Like, to me, it's like, Give it some time. Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, nobody puts people in right after they pass away or right after they retire. You know, The Undertaker obviously was probably, you know, the exception to the rule. Ric Flair is the exception to the rule. But those are the exceptions to prove the rule, right? So, I don't know. What do you think? Tell me. Give me some comments. What do you think? Should Bray Wyatt be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and just because he passed away in August, go into the Hall of Fame this WrestleMania, or do you wait? Honestly, I feel that the most important person to go into the Hall of Fame this year, Paul Heyman. WrestleMania 40 is in Philly. Paul Heyman ran ECW out of the ECW arena in Philly. Paul Heyman should be going into the Hall of Fame at this point in time. I'm sorry, but that to me is a shoo-in. Tommy Dreamer should go into the Hall of Fame this year in Philly. I think Shane Douglas deserves it, but he's on bad terms with the company, so I doubt that'll happen. You know, so let's see. I don't think Bray Wyatt, but that's just me. What do you guys think? Should Bray Wyatt go into the Hall of Fame? Tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me why he deserves to be in a first ballot Hall of Famer. I will be releasing Squared Circle News later today, so have a great day, folks.